Well, good morning and welcome to another AD Quick Bite. And I'm out on the Norfolk Broads today. We've had the first couple of frosts, although it's nice and sunny this morning, the temperatures have certainly dropped. So my first couple of pike trips of the year, I like to get the lure kit out and have a bit of fun and just try and catch a few pikes. That's exactly what I'm doing today. But whilst I'm out here on this Quick Bite, I'm going to give you a few tips for my approach to lure fishing and hopefully help you get a few more pike on the lures this winter. Well, that didn't take too long at all, and it's nice to just get a few bites on the lures. It might not be a big pike, but when lure fishing, it's just the thrill of that hit when they smash the lure. So hopefully this won't be the only fish today, and hopefully it won't be the biggest fish of the day, but I'm going to slip this little fella back. And then the first thing I'm going to talk about is location and where to start on somewhere as vast and as big as this to try and catch a few pike. So the beauty of lure fishing, and when it comes to location as well, is you can cover a lot of water in a day. Whether you're fishing from a boat like I am today, or whether you're bank fishing, the importance is to keep on the move until you find some fish. Don't stay in one area too long if you're not getting any bites. Usually if you put the lure near a pike and he's on the feed, he'll have it in the first couple of casts. So today I'm just drifting in the boat. There isn't much wind today, it's quite flat calm, but I've got the electric outboard and I keep buzzing along this reed line, looking for diving grebes, looking for fish dimpling on the surface, and we have got the fish finder with us today to try and find some bait fish as well. So combine all that, the old school approach of looking for grebes and looking for bait fish, and then the new technology with the fish finder to see those fish as well. Hopefully we won't be far away from a few bites. Oh, just saw a pike strike. Loads of little fish just sprayed up the reed bed there, so I'll probably need to get a little bit closer, but there's definitely numbers of pike in this area. It's the perfect day for spotting signs of activity with the amount of little fish spraying in this flat, calm conditions. You can see even the smallest of roach jumping out. There we go. It feels like a slightly better fish, that one. Just slowed the retrieve down a little bit and a quick pause. And we're into another fish. So that really shows the importance of keeping your eyes open. I saw a couple of pike rise on the reed fringe and just persevere. Oh, he's just come off. Never mind, but saw a couple of fish rising on the reed bed and just keep covering the area, have a dozen or so casts, and normally you can agitate them into grabbing the lure. So when it comes to lure choice, I think we're all guilty of having about 100 lures in our lure box, if not more. We tend to use the 2 or 3 that are laying on the top that you caught on last time. But you'll see a common theme today. This is a Western shad tease. It's exactly that. It's a shad type lure with a big paddle tail that kicks out loads of vibration, and also it'll roll from side to side, flanking and flashing. And I stick with this lure for a lot of my lure fishing simply because I've caught so many pike on it. So once you find a lure that you know you can catch on and you're confident with it, that's half the battle. I find people who keep changing the lure every 5 or 6 casts normally aren't the most confident fishermen. So once you find a lure that works, you might want to change it in different fishing situations. But for me, you will notice today I might change the colour a few times, but I know if I put this lure in front of the pike, they will grab it. Quite often think with lure fishing you can catch pike that aren't necessarily hungry pike. You almost agitate them into striking on it. So I think when you keep casting it on top of them, quite angry fish pike, and they'll soon have a swipe of it out of aggression more than hunger, I believe. Well, there's quite a few pike striking the bait fish along here. That's sometimes a miracle you don't get a bite quicker, so let's just keep working the reeds. I'm sure we're not far away from another take. They can get a little bit preoccupied in the bait fish that they're feeding on, and that's when sometimes changing down to a smaller lure to perhaps match what they're actually feeding on can get you a bite a bit quicker. So I'll have a few casts with this lure, but I have got some slightly smaller ones that might get me a bite a bit quicker. But as I mentioned earlier, I'm a little bit unwilling to change because roach nearly jumped in the boat then. I'm a little bit unwilling to change lures because I have had a few hits on this morning. It does seem to be working quite well. Well, I feel that's pretty much covered location for the lure fishing, but with any of these quick bite videos, if you've got any questions, pop them in the comments below. I do answer a lot of the comments myself when I'm working from home, and I can answer any questions that I haven't covered in the video. But the next thing I want to talk about is the hardware that I'm using when I'm lure fishing for these pike. Well, when it comes to rod choice, it might seem a bit of a minefield out. There's so many different rods to choose from on the market. And that's probably the reason why I've got 3 lure rods in the boat today. I've got the new Advanta spin rods. They come in 3 different sizes. There's a light to medium, a medium to heavy, and then there's a heavy. And which rod I pick up will depend on what size lure I'm casting. So as I've scaled down to a slightly smaller lure, I've put the middle sized on. This is the medium to heavy rod. I felt if I put this smaller lure on the heavy rod, I'm not getting the most out of the lure. I'm not feeling that paddle tail work, and I like to know that I'm working the lure to the best of the ability. So by matching everything up and balancing everything, I feel it gets me more bites. So I've paired all 3 of these rods up. This might seem a bit strange, but I've got the new Advanta match reels on there. They're a perfect little reel to put on these size lure rods, and I've loaded them up with some 30-pound braid. Now the 4000 FD reel, that comes with 3 spools, 2 shallow spools that would be best suited to your match fishing, but there's a slightly deeper spool in the box. It actually comes with a little rubber trim on the spool to prevent the braid from spinning round on the spool when you load it up. And I filled these up with 30-pound braid. I didn't need to put any backing on. That filled the spool perfectly. So I wouldn't go any lower than 30-pound braid for pike fishing. If I was casting even bigger lures, I'd probably step up to 40, if not 50 pound. There's just so much food, isn't there? So much bait fish. There's 3 times these erupted behind the boat now. We got him. I kept thinking it should happen. We kept seeing pike striking the bait fish really close to the boat, and I was then contemplating putting a much smaller shad tease on, but as I did mention, when I find a lure that works, I tend to stick with it. There he is. Really small pike again, but I do love. Oh, just jumped in the net that time. Another feisty little jack. Well, another feisty little jack, but it took some catching this one. This little fella kept striking behind the boat, and I just kept casting the lure at him time and time again, and I probably bored it out on this occasion, but I just like getting the bites when I'm lure fishing. But I think if I keep plodding through the bites, there are bigger pike than this in here, so I'm going to carry on fishing and see if I can find one a little bit bigger than this one. Got him. Please go and find your mum. Well, it seems like it's been a day of jacks today, but it's still great fun. I think the thrill of lure fishing for me is the bite. I'll probably have to make this the last fish of the day, but hopefully this quick bite video has gave you some tips for catching a few more pike if you do some lure fishing. Just grab my net and get this little fella. There we are, last fish of the day. Well, there we are, surprise, surprise, another small pike today. It's been a day of jack pike, but still a thoroughly enjoyable day, and nice to get out, chucking some lures about and experience that whack and the thrill of a bite when you are lure fishing. So hopefully that's taught you a few things today. I'm going to slip this little fella back, probably make that my last fish, but if you want to see more quick bite videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and give this video a like.